Hey guys, so you either just got a Raspberry Pi or you've been using it for a while. But is it just me, or when we're working on our Pi projects, you keep noticing all these lights that are blinking on your Pi at the corner of your eye? Those red and green lights are your Pi's way of telling you what's up, especially if something goes wrong. So when you're troubleshooting, being able to understand what these lights mean can save you a lot of time and help you avoid strangling your Pi if things go haywire. So here's a quick breakdown as to what these LED lights are actually doing. First of all, the red light is all about power, and if it's steady, there's nothing to worry about. But if it's blinking, your Raspberry Pi may not be getting enough power. And worse, if it's completely off, well, you've got a bigger power problem. And we'll talk about this in more detail. The green light tells you everything about activity, and most of the time, it's telling you when your Pi is reading from the SD card. But sometimes it will flash various codes if it finds that something's gone wrong. So let's say you're in the middle of troubleshooting, and your Raspberry Pi is sending you all kinds of LED signals. First, let's dive into what the red LED light tells you. You'll notice that it's labeled PWR, which indicates power status. And if you're getting a steady red light, it means your Pi is getting enough juice, typically 5 volts, and it's ready for action. But if you're seeing a blinking red light, that's definitely not good, because it means your power supply is weak. And if the voltage drops below 4.6 volts, your Pi is definitely struggling to run properly. But what if you're seeing no red light at all? It means your Pi doesn't have enough juice to even turn on. And this situation is called a brown out. And if you're seeing this, you may want to check your power source, or just try another cable if you think yours is busted. Now let's talk about the green light. This one's a little more trickier because you're going to see different types of patterns for green LED lights based on your Raspberry Pi model. Where is it? It's either going to be labeled ACT or OK. And here's how it behaves on Raspberry Pi models 3 and lower. So if the green light is steady, it's probably either reading from the SD card or just booting up. Next, is the green light blinking? Not a problem. It basically means your Pi is either reading or writing data that's on the SD card. But things start to get a little sad when you're seeing no green light at all, especially if your Pi is turned on, but it simply doesn't boot up. In this case, it's time to either replace the SD card or just flash another OS image. And at this point, if you're still troubleshooting and still not convinced, there are some error codes that can tell you exactly what's going on. And let's break these down by pattern. 3 flashes mean your Pi couldn't find the start.elf file. And this is important for booting up the GPU. 4 flashes means the start.elf was found, but it was corrupt and it couldn't be launched. 7 flashes means your Pi couldn't find the kernel.img file, which usually helps the operating system talk to your Pi's hardware. Seeing 8 flashes, your Pi can't recognize its RAM because it's faulty. Now, if you're using a Raspberry Pi 4 or 5, there's one more pattern that's specific to your model. If you happen to see 2 long flashes and then 1 short flash, it means the boot partition on your SD card isn't using the FAT format. So definitely try to reformat it and then try again. For Pi 0 users, the good news is you'll only be seeing the green LED light kicking off. All the other rules that we went over so far pretty much stay the same. And this makes troubleshooting the Raspberry Pi 0 a little more simple. And for older Raspberry Pi models that have Ethernet ports, we didn't forget about you. These are additional lights that just show the network status. So if you happen to see these things going off when you're downloading things, no need to worry. Overall, if you're having power issues, always try to use the official power supply that's recommended for your Raspberry Pi. And if the green light is signaling trouble, do a sanity check on your SD card for corrupt files. Or better yet, just try flashing a brand new Raspberry Pi operating system image. And there you go. So hopefully this breakdown made it easier for you to understand and troubleshoot your Pi just from looking at LEDs. And if you want to learn more about your LEDs warning you about error codes, I've provided a link for you in the video description. And this is directly from the official Raspberry Pi documentation, which goes into a lot more detail. So all the best for seeing more steady green lights on your Raspberry Pi journey. Thanks for watching. And for more on Raspberry Pi, please consider subscribing to this channel.